You look in the concordance where stress would appear because it's not there, is between strength and stretch. And so she said, when you, instead of looking at a situation as stressful, look at it as God stretching you and strengthening you.
Welcome back to the Codiello podcast, where we talk about relationships from the lens of scripture and good old common sense. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so please like, share, and subscribe with all your friends so that they can join the family just like you. Zav, what you got for us?
Yo, what's up, y'all? We got somebody that's like super bright to my left. Can you just tell us who she is?
Yes, this is the infamous, the great Alicia Cohen, aka my big sister, and our back-end producer that makes sure that we sound good and look good. But she's here with us because this is our last recording session with her in the booth. So now we've dragged her from behind the wall.
Yes,
dragged her
against
into
my
the light.
will.
Right.
So that she may be seen by the masses. Thank you for joining us. How have you been enjoying the podcast journey so far?
Oh, I've loved it. I actually really like being behind the scenes and listening to you guys and sometimes chiming in from the back. So it's different to be on this side of the computer. I'm a little stressed, just putting that out there.
We are talking about stress in this episode, which is why, she's being stressed right now.
But yes, thank you for having me. Yeah. I always enjoy listening to you guys, so it'll be interesting to chime in from this end.
On the other side.
So, yes.
Yes.
All right, let's get started. Devin, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun. What is an unpopular opinion that you have?
Ooh, I know you have one too.
An unpopular opinion? Oh man. Can I have a second to think about that?
Yeah.
Just
think about like maybe a conspiracy theory you're into or something like that might not. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is unpopular, and don't dox me, guys, please. But I think, within our circle, it might be a very popular opinion. But the shooting on Trump, that was fake. 100% not real. I don't believe that it was real, and I'm furious that somebody had to die to add legitimacy to it. Because if you see him now, he doesn't even have a scar. How? Does he even have a scar?
Yeah.
And the circumstance of it, nah. There was somebody, they created a story to kind of give him some leeway to get, that's my hot
So you
take.
think the one who will not be named totally faked? I agree. I'm also a conspiracy theorist, so yeah. Okay, I like that. All right, Alicia, so this one's for you. What's a brand you have a ridiculous amount of brand loyalty towards?
Oh, Costco. That's not cute.
That totally counts.
Costco.
Tell us more.
I'll tell you more. Okay, so we grew up going to Costco from we were children. I live by myself, and I go to Costco, and I will buy everything in bulk.
Costco. Right. Salsa, Costco.
Right.
I don't know. It just makes sense. I'm just very used to going to Costco. And it saves money, so why not? So Costco.
So
and they love
Unpopular
DEI.
opinion, it doesn't always, but Costco is great though. Yeah, it depends what it is. Most things, yes, but there are some things that get you by you buying it in bulk. You think you're saving?
I do go to H-E-B for some things.
Okay. You have to. You live in Texas.
I do. But I do love it at Costco.
If it's a Kirkland brand, you might be saving money if it's something big and you really like it. So like rice, you can save money on.
Yeah.
Fruit, it gets kind of close to the cents on the dollar with the like oranges. Yeah. Anyway.
But don't you just want to feel good, Costco.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna lie. When I first got my Costco card, like I hadn't had one I just got one recently. I'm not gonna lie. I used to walk around Costco with my nose up in the air because I feel like a real deal adult. I'm like I grew up going to Costco like with my aunt and like I'm like a real deal adult. Like what are we doing?
I'm paying a membership now. Right? I got a card. Like I'm in there.
You're legit.
Right.
All right,
The
Jazz.
scanning part never bothered you. Just
Listen.
Right.
All right, Jazz, this one's for you. What TV show would you want to be in? what TV show would you not want to be in? You can answer one or both.
This is hard because I grew up watching a lot of television. Okay, what show would I wanted to be in? I would have wanted to be on like, it's a tie. So I'll say 1-on-1. 1-on-1 with Kyla Pratt. Definitely would have wanted shenanigans with them, running around, doing stuff. A show I wouldn't have wanted. Yeah, they just seemed like people I would have really wanted to hang out with in real life. And even I still watch the reruns now. Fun times. Let's see. Not be in Road Rules. I used to watch Real World and Road Rules. And I'd be like, I would want to be on Real World, and I wouldn't be in the drama. I would be like in my room, but I realized like you can't be on those shows and not be in the drama. Yes. But Road Rules is definitely not for me. Like,
so you're a Real World girl.
More of a Real World girl. Okay. And then the Real World Road Rules Challenge, that's probably, people probably wouldn't have liked me. I wouldn't have been tapping out the first try. I would have tried really hard, but yeah. So.
I don't think I've ever heard of that show.
Real World Road Rules?
No.
Did you grow up watching MTV?
Yeah,
no.
that's why.
See, that's why.
Yes.
That's why your parents were responsible.
Yes.
No, we didn't have cable until I was in high school.
Good, they were responsible for not having cable access. I've had cable since I was like in my room since I was like 9 years old. I watched enough TV for all of us, unfortunately.
We can do a movie night, podcast movie night.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, I was like, let me put my phone down. I was like, no, let me scroll and see. Let me answer one.
I got one for you.
Thank you.
What's your food hot take?
Food hot take. That there are a lot of people that have incredibly childish palates. That's my food hot take.
Expound on that.
I even if it's not vegan food, like be open to exploring different flavor notes and different cultures and whatnot. I understand chicken nuggets and fries. That's cool. If you're 3 or 5. But you, our age, come on, expand your palate. Let's, you don't have to like sushi. Like my mom, she's always like, I don't like sushi. I was like, no, you don't like raw fish. But I try to tell her, like, I don't eat raw fish. When I was eating fish, it'll be fried. You know what I mean? So my food hot take is that individuals need to upgrade their palate so it's not childish.
Or like adults that still don't like vegetables.
Yeah.
So can I just say, I feel a little attacked.
Fine. Is there a vegetable you like? Is there a vegetable you like that's not broccoli?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But it's funny. I had chicken and fries like on Thursday.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and the vegetable. I do need to eat more vegetables. But I do like sushi. I do try other things. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah. And I do need to eat more vegetables. Okay.
It's true. Well, we just pulling all your cards. Your first time on camera. Sorry.
Martha's grown a lot. She used to be the chicken tenders and fries at restaurants person. Wow. But now she eats sushi, and now she likes raw fish more than she likes cooked fish.
Oh,
there we go.
Mercy.
Yeah,
okay.
Her sushi is going to be our first meal after birth because we haven't had it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. So before
what we
jump
talking about
into,
today, bro?
I got you.
Okay.
Before we jump into there, I just want to open the floor to our listeners. We want to start a new segment called Listener Letters. Basically, you send us something you want us to talk about or a question you want us to answer. Send it to codeyellowpodcast@gmail.com. That is codeyellowpodcast@gmail.com.
Hey. Yes. I like that.
Yeah. So our topic today, we're talking about stress. Now, stress is an individual thing. It could be something experienced between people in a couple. It'd be something that just comes upon you at your job through different life circumstances. But today's conversation is, where does stress come from? What do we do about it? How do we manage it together? Yeah, so start us off. I know you've been through a lot of stress in your life.
Yes.
She's done more school than most of the people you know. So.
I'm crazy.
Yes. She's going to do more.
I'm crazy.
School.
I'm actually crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stress and I are best friends. To be honest, I don't know if I can say I have managed my stress well yet. I am improving, but I don't think I am at the place where I would like to be in terms of stress management. So I guess, what does stress mean to me? Maybe. So at least in my definition, I think stress can be good and it can be bad. So I don't think stress is something that shouldn't be there. So stress is something that tells you there's some kind of urgency. something that needs to be done, and you need to activate your body to do it. So a certain level of stress is important. If a bear is coming at you, you need to to run and to activate your body to keep safe, keep alive. And that level of stress is good. The problem is, I think, with a lot of Americans in general, we're stressed chronically. Like we never come down from that initial stress. And that is where the problem lies. Yeah.
Just thinking about, there's a difference between stress management and being able to function, like stress, like be high functioning under stress. That's what I was just thinking about while you're talking. So it's probably challenging for some people to even determine if they're even stressed because they've learned how to function under stress so well. Yeah. So you may mistake that for being able to manage it. And I don't know that that's actually managing it, and that has, I'm thinking about it a lot right now to talk about it, because that's something I've had to work around most of my life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so I just think back to when I was in residency in 2020 to 2021, and I was in Southern California, hoofing it back and forth from Loma Linda to OC, which is an hour and a half each way, working 50 hours a week. And I started that residency at about 175 pounds of weight. And in a month and a half, I was 195 and stayed there no matter what I did. Granted, we got a lot of free snacks at that job, a lot of free snacks. But then as soon as I was done there, month and a half, back down, boom, 180, 175, like right after that. So it's like the body changes that we go through when we're under like high pressure situations for a long time, it's life altering. So like, what do we do with that? Like, how do we keep that stress from accumulating in our bodies so that it even shows to this level? What do you guys try to do in managing stress?
I know for me, staying physically active has helped, but finding an activity I enjoy. So sometimes, and that can add to the stress, right? If you feel like I don't have enough time or have you. So finding something that is maybe more recreational than it is just like going to the gym. So when I first moved here, and I really advocated for myself. I went to that gym and I was like, I need this, y'all. I need this. So it was leading up to my wedding and wanting to get fit, but also just I realized the job that I had at the time was very stressful. And so I did kickboxing. And that was really helpful. I looked forward to like that impact, but also it was like I was challenging myself in a new way because I'd never done it before. And I'd always wanted to learn how to box. So I'm like learning a new skill, those endorphins, like the actual like physicality of letting go of the stress, and then just enjoying a new activity and fellowship and things like that. So I definitely think that could fall under finding a hobby or just finding a way to create recreation time where you mentally can I don't want to say escape, but escape whatever is causing the stress.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'm at a loss for words. Stress.
You stressed right now, bro?
I would say, do you identify with stress?
Yeah, like, do I identify with stress?
Or I guess a better question would be, can you think of a time that you've actually ever been stressed?
Yeah,
say I was stressed.
Yeah, like school time, but a lot of time that was like my own doing, like waiting to the last minute, and like totally stressed. I'm like, oh, am I gonna fail? So yeah, those were times. As of lately, I mean, life just compounds on you on a daily basis. I don't know if I would say like that is stress. Like I put that in the stress bucket, because I try not to like claim certain things, like everything won't last and whatnot. But so that's my view on like me personally. But I think people, I don't know, they have to do I feel like I always talk about this on the podcast, doing a self-assessment. We were recently talking in Sabbath school about, someone mentioned like, they look at like divorce differently or whatnot. Because divorce and abuse, like two different things. But we were talking about the fact that like sometimes when you hold stuff in, cancer comes. It's just like, you know, you're in a relationship and you're like stressed out and you get cancer or whatnot. It's because you have like unforgiveness. The thing was like unforgiveness and like how we hold on to things, and that stuff gets us sick. So I'm grouping like stress and like unforgiveness and just all the things that like when you don't let go and you don't give it to God, you can, dang, like how did this person get cancer? Or how did this person, you know, your weakened immune system, like God, I always say like the body is the most immaculate computer that has ever and that will ever exist. How the teeth are connected to the heart, connected to the big toe. It's just like God is, I have no words, majestic for that. But anyway, I think people, if you're watching this and you are stressed, you know, you have to get rest. There's a story going around. It went viral. This lady, so she posted on social media. She's like, I'm super tired. Like, I'm super tired. I got to do this, that, and this, that, and the third, or whatnot. And she had a couple statuses about that. And then, like, she died. Like, and people were saying pretty much the message was that, you know, do not wait until you're dead in order to finally rest. So yeah, she was running some businesses and doing this, that, and the third. You all can look it up. I wish I knew.
I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen it on Threads. Like,
I was on yeah.
Yeah, it made its way to Threads. So I think she posted like how she's so tired, has to do this and that. And people are like, oh, so you're not taking appointments today? Or no, you're not doing this, you're not doing that? And she's like, literally,
the grind culture that we live in. Yeah. So anyway, stress can kill you.
Literally.
And so I want to be here a long time. And so that's why like Jasmine may think like I just live in this world. It's just like I literally cannot hold like certain things on me. Like I can't. It's not good for my mental health. If in order for me to just be the person who God has called me to be, like I can't operate in certain things. Like people always ask, like at church, like, how was your week? I was like, the week was cool. You know what I mean? Like, it was some crappy stuff that happened. There was some annoying things that happened, you know, whatever the case may be. But like, I got through another week, and usually I try to, you can't make the good outweigh the bad, but within the week, well, you can identify and acknowledge the good stuff and the bad stuff. So typically every Sabbath, people are like, how was the week? I was like, it was cool. It went by fast. You know what I mean? Some crazy stuff happened, but like for the most part, it was a good week. So, yeah. That's all I got.
I've never heard.
No, that was
I have not experienced Zavian to say he's had a bad day or a bad week. Even if something bad happened, he's just not going to say that.
just positive.
Yes. Something I would like to offer, and I think, so I'm thinking about a lot of things right now. You have me just assessing what is actually, like, what do I identify stress to actually be, and what is the difference between self-inflicted stress, which is probably what I've experienced most of my life, was like you mentioned, procrastination. Like, I'm guilty. And so, but I was also thinking about like some stressful job situations I've had that were actually stressful, and just how I can identify it more with what was stressful or what was stressed because I'm removed. So I'm like, yeah, I really was stressed. But so that's one thing. So really taking the time to identify what your stressors are, what's causing the stress. I think that can help with management. So okay, if I'm often stressed in certain situations because of procrastination, let's address the procrastination so I can manage that. That's managing the stress. Those stressful job situations. Well, one thing my grandmother said to me when I was alive, probably in the early 2010s, but something I want you all to think about, and I try to use this to help my perspective in what I may identify as a stressful situation, is that she says when you look in the concordance, where stress would appear because it's not there is between strength and stretch. And so she said, when you, instead of looking at a situation as stressful, look at it as God stretching you and strengthening you. And so I started to, when she shared that with me, I did try to look at situations differently. And even one of the two most stressful jobs I'm thinking about, I'm like, okay, how is the Lord strengthening me for something? Because I believe every job you have is preparing you for something else, and something in the next job or just something else in life. So I walked away with, okay, what was it stretching me to do? You know, how did the Lord stretch me in this way, these different ways? And then how was I strengthened, and, you know, taking that with me into future situations.
Yeah. Like, are you able to, you know, hindsight, are you able to, okay.
Absolutely. I'm not going to say that they weren't stressful situations, but instead of, like you said, I can address the stress differently and, like you said, let it go. I can what do I want to say, label it as a different thing and not to ignore it, but I can create a tool for myself. So yes, this was stressful, but what did I get out of that? What did I learn out of that experience, situation, context? So it's like, okay, if I meet people and we have that same type of interaction, instead of just feeling stressed about it, how can I manage the situation differently? How can I, what did I learn? What tools do I have now to manage a stressful situation?
So I wanted to jump in because you guys both made really great points. I think the two that resonated with me most is in order to manage something, you have to know it's there. And I think that's the problem with a lot of us. We don't realize the stress that's there and how it's affecting us. And then the other side is what you were saying, Zav, rest, like true rest and being able to actually let go and allow yourself to recover. I think those are the two things that are the hardest for people to deal with. So for example, for me, I hold my stress in my muscles. Like I get really bad muscle tension. So like Devin will know, but I used to get like muscle spasms and I wouldn't notice until it was so bad that I could not move my neck, like that intense, right? And I didn't know until I literally had really bad spasms, and then I would have to go get therapy and stuff like that to get rid of them, right? So that was a physical manifestation of emotional or like stress, whatever was going on at the time. I was in school and, and working. And so the stress was happening, but my body, as you were saying, Zav, remembered the stress.
The body keeps score.
It keeps the score. It really does, right? And then the other side of it is when you're that stressed all the time, how do you unwind? So you go home and you're like, I need to sleep. I need to unwind. But you're still so wired because you're in the stress.
I'm like, baby, go to sleep. And she's like, well, I got my second wind. I'm like, you're tired.
But yeah, I think that's the culture, right? Our culture is get out there, do what you need to do it fast, do it well, and don't stop because if you do, you won't get what you need to get done.
Right.
And then we see the ramifications of that in other ways. So I don't know if anyone has, I don't know if you have any tips. I think things that have kind of helped me is one, just being aware. So when I start to feel like, oh, my body is really tense, okay, I need to take a step. I'll go outside, go take a walk, get some fresh air, make sure I'm hydrating well. That's something that's really easy to forget when you're running around at work. It's important to drink too. And sometimes I'll just take a break, go talk to a coworker and we'll have a laugh.
Yeah.
That helps, little breaks. And then with the resting thing, habits have helped me to, when I come home, I do these things in this order before bed, and that helps. Still fine tuning that one, but just practically the first thing to know is, am I stressed? And what does that look like for me? And then learning to undo that.
Ooh, I want to be controversial. I know we're not on the side.
We don't.
Can family be stressful?
Oh, what is controversial about that?
Of course. Dum, dum, dum.
Yes.
That annoying family member, that annoying cousin, parents ragging on us. Not ragging, but you know what I mean. Like, can family be stressful?
I think another in that same vein, whether it's family members or anyone, having boundaries, that's another. That's something I went without for a very long time. And having boundaries. And I think another thing too, rest doesn't make you weak. So I think a lot of people think, oh, if I have to rest, it's because I got to I overexertion, or I got to some peak where now I need, rest should be a part of, it's just as valuable as the doing. Yeah. Just like you need to eat, you need hydration, you need to work to make income. I feel like it's helpful if you see rest as a part of your maintenance, your livelihood, not something you get to because you need it now. Yeah. And so, with family members, can they be stressful? Yes. And boundaries helps with that too.
Yeah. And another controversial, church.
Ooh.
Can working for the Lord be
Mercy.
I always say, and I coined this, this term when I was, stressed doing school and church and thing. Ministry is the blurred line between work and rest on Sabbath. because salvation is free, but ministry comes at a cost, both of energy, time, and a lot of the time your own resources, where you have to fill a gap that the bureaucracy, as it were, has made it hard to fill. Yeah, so
I feel like that's another topic in itself.
Yes, it is.
You know, but I definitely think even with ministries, I know it can be challenging. I've been there, but things like knowing that it's for a season.
Yes.
You know, knowing that it's okay to have a season where you rest, even in ministry, and that is. I remember a pastor having a conversation with me one time and showing me in the Bible where rest is there. You know, Jesus, there was rest, and God, you know, He wants you to rest. That is something that you can. So it's like it's not simple to rest. It's not, you know. So there are, you know, I think also knowing why you're doing the ministry that you're doing. So I think there's just important to like have check-ins and knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and that it is the motivation behind it. I think can help too. So just always assessing the doing that you're doing. What's we talk about busy?
Being under Satan's yoke.
Yes. So, you know, we often just say, I'm
great.
busy.
Crazy,
to
right?
align with the doing.
I try. It's sometimes hard, but I try not to say I'm busy. I'm like, nope, I make time for whatever.
So it just helps you to just make, even if you're using your time, you're being intentional with how you're using our time. We're supposed to be stewards over our time, our talents, and our gifts. So, and, you know, and money. Not just our money. I think when people think stewardship, they think tangible. Yeah. But how we spend our time, we should be intentional about that as well. And I think that helps with stress management.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not to jump back into the cesspool of stress too deep, but like I know that one of the things that I'm guilty of, like I'm a scroller, right? Especially when I'm more stressed, right?
Doom scrolling.
Me too.
Doom scrolling.
I feel you on that.
And that's really just a symptom of, I don't know. I'd love to study the hormone levels on this, but like it's like a dopamine chase because your body's because your body's trying to balance out whatever negative hormones are. You know, cortisol is a stress hormone. I want to dig into. I don't want to upset any neurologists out there or physiologists, but yeah, like when you try to chase. It's like when you're hungry and you're tired, you go for the most junky food there is to get your blood sugar up just that
quickly.
little bit. Yeah. So I wonder if there is a place for healthier forms of dopamine seeking, the ones that don't just make your brain like tired. But ones that help your body. Yeah. But then you have to like, there's a certain level of motivation you have to like initiate that. And then the dopamine is slower. And that's the hard part. The dopamine addiction is one of the prime results of a heavily stressed life.
That makes sense.
So I guess, I mean, we are coming close to time, but like, I think my last thing is just like to be mindful of where the stress is coming from and how much you're bearing so that you can kind of take proactive steps to cut down the negative effect it'll have on you. And we didn't even get to talking about how stress can impact your relationships. That's a topic for
a part two.
We'll see.
I got a song for I'm gonna look at the audience. Y'all know this, my soprano, alto, tenor. Hezekiah Walker, 1990, whatever. Jesus, he knows how much we can bear. We can bear.
Yes.
We can bear. So Jesus knows how much we can bear. We're gonna sing the song when we leave this. This episode, right? So just sing that song when you feel stressed. Jesus knows how much you can bear, for sure.
Don't sue us. Don't sue us, Hezekiah.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining us. Don't be stressed. It's the weekend. Just chill out and see you next time.
Hey.
And in the meantime, heal responsibly and join us next week.
Peace.